The defending champions were undefeated. Nobody had figured out how to crack their code. The New York Liberty looked unstoppable, rolling through teams like they weren't even there. Then Caitlin Clark came back from injury on June 14th. What happened next wasn't just a win. It was a complete demolition that broke 8 records in one night. The Liberty's perfect season, gone. Their confidence, shattered. But here's what nobody saw coming. The way the Fever turned this into a blueprint for championship basketball. Picture this. The defending champions rolling through every team like they're playing against high schoolers. The New York Liberty came into June with a perfect 9-win, 0-loss record. They were the only undefeated team left in the WNBA. Every single game was a statement. Every victory made them look more unstoppable. The Liberty weren't just winning games. They were destroying teams with a suffocating defense that nobody could crack. Teams would walk into the arena thinking they had a chance. 2 hours later, they'd leave the court looking confused and beaten down. The Liberty's defense was like a brick wall that kept getting taller every game. For me, played the Liberty, there was obviously a frustrating ending. What lessons can you take from that experience, and how can that be applied to this? Even I know, obviously Liberty look a little different with 2 starters out. Yeah, I mean, I think certainly you take time and score situations, different versions of handle and runs, offensively, defensively. Margin for error is small against a team like New York, and every play matters. Every time we send them to the free throw line matters. Every rebound matters. We can't afford to have empty possessions on the offensive end of the floor. You've got to play your A game. Every team that faced them came in with confidence and left completely demoralized. Coaches spent hours drawing up plays. Players studied film until their eyes hurt. Nothing worked. The Liberty had an answer for everything. Their pick-and-roll offense was surgical, their defense was relentless, and their confidence was through the roof. Sabrina Ionescu, Jonquel Jones, and Brianna Stewart were playing basketball at a level that made other All-Stars look ordinary. These 3 weren't just having good seasons. They were dominating in ways that made you wonder if anyone could compete with them. Stewart would score from anywhere on the court. Ionescu would hit impossible shots and make passes that shouldn't exist. Jones defended the inside and made other centers look like kids. The numbers tell the whole story. They were averaging blowout wins and making star players look ordinary. Their margin of victory wasn't just impressive, it was scary. Teams would come in ranked high in the league and get blown out by 20 points. Even the best players in the WNBA looked like they were playing a different sport when they faced New York. Even basketball analysts were starting to wonder if anyone could challenge them this season. Sports shows were talking about how long the streak could last. Writers were already planning articles. The conversation wasn't about who could beat them. It was about whether anyone even had a chance. Then the Fever got their chance, but they needed something special to happen. Indiana was coming off injuries and lineup changes. They hadn't looked like a championship team yet. Most people expected another Liberty blowout victory, but there's one thing New York never saw coming: the return of Caitlin Clark. Yeah, we have an opportunity in front of us right now. I feel like this is like, we're starting a new season. You guys, I'm so proud of how resilient we've been up until this point. We're going to continue to have to be. But right now, we have an opportunity to continue to take a step forward. Okay, this can be a springboard for us, right? We're marrying energy and effort with execution. Every single possession matters. Let's talk about the moment that changed everything. 38 seconds that rewrote WNBA history. Clark stepped onto the court at Gainbridge Fieldhouse, and immediately you could feel something different in the air. She wasn't just back from her quad injury. She was ready to make a statement that would echo through the entire league. The Liberty defense was ready for her. They had studied every move, every tendency. They knew Clark would come out firing. They had watched film of her shooting from impossible distances. They thought they were prepared for what she could do. They weren't even close. But then Clark did something that nobody saw coming. 3 consecutive three-pointers from distances that made defenders look helpless. The first shot came from 34 feet out. Most players wouldn't even think about taking that shot. Clark pulled up like it was a free throw. Nothing but net. The second shot was from 31 feet. Same result. The third shot was also from 31 feet out. The crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse went absolutely insane as each shot found nothing but net. Fans were jumping out of their seats. The noise level was incredible. You could feel the energy building with every shot Clark made. The arena was shaking with excitement. 9 points in 38 seconds. That's not just fast scoring, that's rewriting what's possible in professional basketball. Think about that for a second. Most players are happy to score 9 points in an entire quarter. Clark did it in less than a minute. She became the first player in WNBA history to achieve this exact feat. Even Breanna Stewart couldn't help but smile because what she was watching was pure basketball artistry. Stewart is one of the best players in the world. She's seen everything the game has to offer, but even she had to appreciate what Clark was doing out there. The Liberty called a timeout, but it was already too late. Clark had already broken their mental game. You could see it in their body language. The confidence they had built over 9 straight wins was starting to crack. They came into this game expecting another easy victory. Instead, they were watching Clark rewrite the record books. This wasn't luck or a hot streak. This was a superstar announcing her return in the most dominant way possible. The Liberty had an 11-point lead in the first quarter. After Clark's 38-second explosion, the game was tied at 24. She had single-handedly erased their entire advantage and shifted the momentum completely. Here's where it gets really incredible. Clark didn't just have a good game, she rewrote the record books. By halftime, Clark had already scored 25 points, the most she'd ever put up in a single half. This wasn't just a hot shooting night. This was Clark announcing that her 5-game absence from the quad injury was officially over, but the records were just getting started, and each quarter brought new milestones. Clark hit 7 3-pointers during the game, a career high that left Liberty defenders scrambling to find answers. Every time they thought they had her figured out, she'd pull up from another impossible distance and drain another shot. The Liberty coaching staff kept calling timeouts, but nothing could cool her down. Then came the moment that put her above WNBA legend Candace Parker. Clark finished with 30 points, 8 rebounds, and 9 assists. This became her third career game with 30 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. Parker, a 2-time MVP and 7-time All-Star, only has 2 such games in her first 2 seasons. Clark just passed one of the greatest players in WNBA history. She became the 4th fastest player in WNBA history to reach 850 career points, doing it in just 45 games. Cynthia Cooper-Dyke needed 38 games. The combination of 30 points, 8 rebounds, 9 assists, and 7 3-pointers made her the only player in WNBA history to achieve this exact stat line. Nobody has ever put up these numbers in a single game. Not Sue Bird, not Diana Taurasi, not Maya Moore, nobody. Clark became the first person to ever reach this combination of stats. She moved to second place for most games with 50-plus points scored or assisted on, with 9 such games in just 45 games. Diana Taurasi leads this category with 10 games, but she needed 565 games to get there. Clark is doing it at a pace that's absolutely incredible. She's tracking to pass Taurasi's record before the end of this season. Clark now holds the record for most 30-point, 5-rebound, 5-assist games in a player's first 2 seasons, surpassing Candace Parker. This wasn't just a great performance against the defending champions. This was Clark cementing her place among the all-time greats in record time. She's rewriting what's possible for a young player in this league. But here's what made this win truly special. It wasn't just the Caitlin Clark show. While Clark was breaking records, her teammates were having career-defining performances of their own. The question was whether the supporting cast could match Clark's energy and execution. They answered that question in the most perfect way possible. Lexi Hull stepped up with career highs across every statistical category: points, rebounds, assists, steals, and shooting percentages. Hull has been quietly having the best season of her career. She leads the entire league in 3-point percentage while setting personal bests in every major category. Her shooting from beyond the arc creates space for Clark and opens up the entire offense. When Hull catches fire from 3-point range, the Fever become impossible to guard. Aaliyah Boston became the only center in the league, averaging 4.1 assists per game, showing her unique playmaking ability. Boston isn't just a traditional center who scores in the paint. She can pass the ball like a point guard. She sees plays develop before they happen. Her ability to facilitate from the center position makes the Fever's offense completely different from every other team in the league. Kelsey Mitchell added 22 points with clutch shots that kept the Liberty from making any comeback runs. Mitchell hit big shots in the fourth quarter when the Liberty tried to make their move. Every time New York cut the lead, Mitchell would answer with a 3-pointer or a driving layup. Her scoring ability takes pressure off Clark and gives the Fever multiple offensive weapons. Sydney Colson provided crucial support off the bench with 10 points and 6 assists. She came in during important moments and never looked out of place. Her steady play kept the momentum going when the starters needed a break. Colson's contributions show how deep this Fever roster really is. The ball movement was crisp, the defense was suffocating, and every player knew exactly what their role was. The Fever forced the Liberty to play at their pace. They disrupted New York's pick-and-roll offense with smart defensive adjustments. They took away the mismatches that the Liberty normally create. This was the blueprint for championship basketball, stars being stars while role players elevate their games. Stephanie White emphasized the importance of the team's resilience, stating, "This group as they stay together, they encourage one another, they draw strength from one another." This team-first mentality created a winning formula that was on full display. When everyone fires on all cylinders like this, the Fever transformed from a good team into a championship contender. The chemistry was obvious. The execution was perfect. The confidence was through the roof. This wasn't just a win. This was the Fever showing the entire WNBA that they've figured out the championship formula. Clark breaking 8 records while her teammates reached career highs created something special. The Liberty's perfect season is over, but more importantly, the Fever just proved they can beat anyone when they play their brand of basketball. With Clark breaking records and her teammates reaching new heights, the 2025 season just became a lot more interesting. The Fever moved to 5 wins and 5 losses and grabbed first place in the Eastern Conference standings for the Commissioner's Cup.